Hello, everyone. Welcome into this space. We are pretty close to getting started here, and we just want to give people maybe 60 more seconds to get in the room. And I am going to get myself situated, maybe fill up my water glass just a little bit. Great. It looks like we got a lot of Bakersfield folks. I feel like Bakersfield, it might already have it, but I want to be like, is it B Field or is it B Town? Is there like a nickname for Bakersfield? Somebody can write it, or Bako. Ooh, I like it, Bako. Which sounds like Mako. Uh-oh, better get Bako. I don't know, maybe. It makes me think of an easy bake oven, which now I want cookies. Can somebody do that? Boy, I will say this about the co-host screen. They want to let you know if somebody is waiting in the waiting room. It just keeps popping up. I'm going to have to get used to that a little bit. Emily, I think
you're ready.
Yes, okay. I'm ready.
What a wonderful way to welcome the students and our staff on the call already. You've already said hello, and they got a taste of you and what they're about to see today. And so our guest today is known to his fans and followers as the Ripples Guy. Paul has spent, am I muted? It says I'm muted. No?
I hear you.
Okay. Paul has spent time on hundreds of campuses and conferences around North America, helping students and staff more consistently bring their best selves to school, work, and life. Over 30,000 current and former students subscribe to his weekly Ripples emails, and thousands more follow him on social media, where he's known as Ripples Guy. Several hundred CSUB staff enjoyed the ideas and energy he shared with us last week, and you're about to see why they are still raving about him. Thank you so much, Paul, for agreeing to hang out with us again today. And we just want to say we are so thankful you're here to give us this Wellness Wednesday message.
I am so excited to be back. I had an amazing time hanging out with the staff last week, and I think we're in for some good information and exploration today. I want to say to students as you're joining us, thank you so much for giving up some of your valuable, precious time. And I want to point out something. Your attendance in this, you being willing to hop into this room and say, let me see what this is about. That says to me that you might be ready for college in ways that you didn't know. And your ability to say, oh, this is a thing they're offering me, this is paid for, it's not going to cost any money. How about if I check it out? Because we sent this out to a whole bunch of folks. We didn't make it mandatory. We didn't say show up or else. And so it was really an interesting experiment in, who's going to show up? Who is ready to get curious? And this is my deal. I loved being a college student. I loved being an RA and an orientation leader and the chair of my programming board. I keep forgetting to tell Emily that. I loved being on the programming board. And I was the school mascot even. Are you surprised? Shocking. And my junior year of college, my dean of students whispered in my ear that there was a master's degree you can get where you could work with college students for your whole life. And I was like, shut up, that sounds amazing. So I hopped over. I grew up in Southern Illinois, and went to college near St. Louis. I hopped over to Bowling Green, Ohio, and I spent a lot of years learning how to help students learn and grow. And I worked on several college campuses. Absolutely loved two aspects of my job: the student leadership portion of it, helping students embrace the leadership possibilities and the learning possibilities of activities outside the classroom. And then also, I loved the part of my job that was helping my other colleagues, my student affairs colleagues, learn and grow as well. So eventually, I turned that into my full-time work. And I've spent the last 2 decades, my full-time job is hopping around to college students. Sometimes I'm hanging out with students. Sometimes I'm hanging out with professional staff. And a lot of times, like today, I get to hang out with a little bit of both. And most of my work is centered around 2 pieces: reaching out skills to help people be more effective at connecting with each other, and reaching in skills to help people more consistently bring their best self to school, to leadership, to work, and to life. And along the way, I started asking students a question whenever I was on a college campus. What advice do you wish you would have gotten the day you started college? Or what advice did you get from somebody that you wished you would have actually followed? And that ended up becoming a presentation that I started giving when I was asked to speak at orientations. And it turns out that there are some common pieces of advice. And I'll tell you the truth, some of this you might have heard already. Rather than this feel like a boring rehash of some of that advice, what I have to offer you today is a way to remember all of it in a way so that even when more people are giving you advice, you're going to be able to categorize it into 6 basic actions that most advice that people have when folks are starting college. And so my job today is just to share with you those 6 actions, and I have a few bonus things to share with you, because it turns out that while I've been firing up students as they start college for literally 20 years, it turns out exactly none of those years did my talk have to do with how to start college in the time of a global pandemic. And so in March, when this started looking like, hey, this might be a thing for more than 10 minutes, this might be something that lasts all the way to Memorial Day, if only. It turns out we're going to make it to Labor Day, and my gosh, it may be, who knows? But I started thinking as early as about May, hey, I'm still going to be getting to fire up students this fall. I wonder what advice I need to be preparing. And so a couple weeks ago, I asked college students who were colleging in the time of Covidia. I call it Covidia. And so, a lot of upper class students, they haven't been doing it forever, but they did some in the spring, and they learned how to pivot, and they learned how to take the massive amount of uncertainty. And I've never done it this way before, combined with the professors had never done it this way before. The staff had never done it this way before. And they figured out how to make it work. And so here we are this fall, you starting this new chapter in your life under very strange circumstances. And I do want to say to you, I'm so sorry that you're starting this exciting new chapter in your life in such a weird, complicated time. And if you're like most high school students that got robbed of their last year and how we thought it was going to go and how you deserve to have it go, it is unfortunate. There are some things that we can do to not only survive, not just get through this, but actually thrive, even though it's going on in the time of global pandemic, racial unrest and concern that is, depending on how you do the math, a couple years behind, a couple decades behind, or a couple centuries behind. But we're dealing with some opportunity for growth around race, and oh yeah, climate change is happening. That's kind of relevant and important. And the economic uncertainty. Oh wow, there's a lot. So what I want to be able to do today is to help you feel better than you do right now, help you think better than maybe you have been, and to help you do better. And I'm going to ask you to do me a favor really quick that's going to help me. If I were to ask you to decide right now on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being really high and 1 being, I'm going to ask you to put something in the chat for me. The thing I want to know, it's kind of a combination, and I'm going to show you what I want. I want, first of all, the number that you are feeling right now today in terms of your energy and mood. 10 being fantastic and amazing, 1 or even 0 being awful. I'd like to first know that number, but then I want to show you, and look what I type in the window. I'm going to ask for that number, and then in parentheses, I'd like you to give me the range that you've been in the last couple days, or excuse me, the last couple weeks? What's the lowest number you've hit in the last few weeks? What's the highest number? So for me, right now, I'm an 8, and my lowest, I would say, has been a 2, and I would say I was at a 9 at least a little bit. So I would put 8 and then in parentheses 2-9. So if I asked you right now, what's your mood? Write that number first, scale of 1 to 10. And then in parentheses, what's the lowest number that you've hit in the last few weeks? Dash, what's the highest number you've hit? Thank you, Nico Jordan. Awesome. This is great. Thank you so much for your honesty about the numbers. And I want you to notice, besides typing your numbers in, can you please notice that the numbers are all over the place, and even the number today is ranging. I saw a couple 5s. I saw some 6s, 7s, and 8s, and that's good. And I want you to know that wherever you're at is okay. What my goal is today is to give you some information and ideas that can help you feel better right now. Maybe bump it up, not 3 or 4 points, but maybe 1 solid point, to give you some things that you can think better so that you can maybe change how you're thinking about college, about Covidia, about all the uncertainty that's going on. And then finally, I want to give you some actions so that you can do better, so that you can do some things differently than you would have been if you didn't show up today. Are you in? Yes. Okay. I'm going to say that we need to learn something first, and it's a little corny. And I'm going to show you first. There are 6 actions that I swear to you have helped thousands of college students be more effective and have more enjoyment of college. And the 6 actions look like this. And that probably seems really weird to you. Trust me, I developed this little mnemonic device as a way to teach these ideas so that even though there aren't slides, even though we might never want to take notes in something like this, some of you might be taking notes, awesome, but a lot of you are just listening. And I want to make this memorable. So I'm going to invite you right now, and I need everyone to participate. Even though I can't see you, I promise you, you will want to benefit from learning these actions. So I just need everyone to do a shrug and tilt. And then I want you to do a clap. So we're going to do that all together, shrug and tilt, and then clap. We're a third of the way through. That's how easy this is. The next one is called crumbs off the table. So you're going to make a table with one hand, and you're just going to do some crumbs, brushing crumbs off the table, back and forth. Perfect. And then the next one is, a lot of people, it's their favorite, is called dolphins in the ocean. You're going to make 2 fists close to your chest, and then you're going to make little dolphins going out. So let's do those last 2 again. We're going to do crumbs off the table, dolphins in the ocean. The last 2 are so easy. Temple point, just put your hands on your temple, and then jazz hands. Do the last 2 again. Temple point, jazz hands. And if we put this all together from the top, it's shrug and tilt, clap, crumbs off the table, dolphins in the ocean, temple point, jazz hands. Okay, now give yourselves a hand because that was awesome that you did that. Thank you. Now let me explain that. And you don't have to. You can, if you want to, follow along when I do these movements. But at this point, you can just listen. This is why those 6 actions: ask, connect, sample, ripple, focus, enjoy. These are the classifications of advice that students have told me for decades that have helped them be more effective and enjoy college more. So we're going to zip through them kind of quickly. First one is asking questions and asking for help. And it turns out that most new students are afraid to ask questions. They're afraid that they're already supposed to know the answer. They're afraid they're going to ask the wrong person, or they're afraid of looking like a stupid first year. And the reality is most students, when they're new to this experience, are afraid. It's something that they've never done before. It's new. And in fact, if I ask you right now to use the chat window to just type Yes, I am. If you are willing to admit that you are nervous, in addition to maybe being excited that you are nervous, just type in the chat, yes, I am. And we'll see how many people. Yes, I am. There's a couple people right off. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, I am. Yeah, girl. Yep. Yes, I am. Yep. Yes, I am. And I'm asking you to do that in part because we want to keep you engaged in this presentation, but I want you to look at this scroll. You are not alone. And when you're walking around campus, especially with masks on, you are not, oh, and I know that some of you aren't, actually, a lot of you aren't even coming to campus. So even more so if you're not on campus and interacting with people, you are not going to know that all of the people that are starting college right now, and in fact, most of the professors and staff and the upper class students are all uncomfortable and nervous, and that's okay. And in fact, college is worth getting nervous for. College is a big deal. It's a brand new start. It's a different way of going to school. It's a different way of living your life. For most of us, if you're coming right out of high school, it was a lot more regimented. You go to school and you're there all day and then you leave. And college is just a very different experience. You add in Covidia and we're learning from home and we're doing video and we're learning how to do all that. And there's even more new. And nervousness is a natural response. And what I will tell you, even though I've given hundreds and hundreds of presentations, when I switched to Zoom, it was like starting over. And I was really nervous. And even after giving dozens of Zoom presentations over the past few months, I still got nervous today. I still got nervous right before Emily opened up the room. And you know why? Because you're worth getting nervous for. This is a big deal. I want to bring my best self to this experience. I don't want to just phone it in, blah, blah, blah. No, you and I are crossing paths exactly one time. This, for most of the people I connect with, is the only time that I ever get to cross paths with someone. Mary, luckily, is a bonus exception because we've got to cross paths a lot. But for a lot of us, this is the one chance. And for me to get nervous is my body and my mind's way of saying, this is a big deal. So congratulations on being nervous. But I want to get rid of one nervousness. You worried about looking like a stupid first year. Because the secret that I need you to know is, in a lot of ways, you kind of are a stupid first year. You don't know everything yet. You're just getting here. And being uninformed as a new student is part of the educational process. It's okay that you're new. You're supposed to be. It's being a stupid sophomore that's really going to get in the way of your educational success. So what we want you to do as quickly as possible is ask for questions and ask for help. Ask your RA, ask a staff, ask an orientation leader, ask any faculty or staff person. I am going to dare you to minimize the number of times that you ask your parents for help or advice. Because one of the big outcomes that we want for this college experience is for you to learn some communication and problem-solving skills. And you are probably, if you're like most new students, you are already good at asking your parents for help when you need it. We want to stretch those communication and problem-solving skills. So as often as possible, we want you to turn to somebody on campus, somebody who's part of the university. And it doesn't mean you can never ask your parents for it, but I want you to limit that part of it. So asking questions and asking for help is the first one. The next one is about connecting with people. Most new students are really excited about the aspect that they're going to meet some new people and meet new friends. And this is true that you are going to have the opportunity to meet new people. And it's going to be harder and it's going to be weirder because in many situations, you're going to be meeting them on Zoom calls maybe, or you're not going to, even if you're in person with people, you will be farther apart from them and possibly wearing a mask where you're not going to be able to read people's faces. And so it's going to be harder to connect initially. And it's that much more important that you are mindful and purposeful about connecting with people. And so you want to really keep your eyes and ears peeled for events, for opportunities that the campus is going to create for you to interact with other people. And yes, that might be on Zoom calls. It might be in events that are taking place virtually. But again, you showing up to this right now is a huge sign that you're willing to put yourself out there and connect with people. And I will tell you that it is worth the extra time and energy it's going to take for you to connect with people. The two pieces of advice that I want to share with you, that once the time comes, and the time will come when we get to hang out with each other, and it is coming, probably not as soon as we wish, but it's going to come sooner than our worst fears. And the tendency in situations where we have a chance to meet new people is we tend to hang out with either people that we already know or people who are a lot like us. It's just easier. And one of the things I want to be sure I say to you in this presentation is, when you want to feel comfortable, it's really important that you surround yourself with people you know, with people who are like you, with people who look the way you look, who have backgrounds similar to you, who have political views similar to you, when you want to feel comfortable. When you want to learn, when you want to grow, when you want to get something out of college, orientation, or life, it is so important that you find the courage and the strength to step away from your comfort zone and to seek the challenge of surrounding yourself with people who are different than you, with people who look different than you, with people who look at the world differently than you. And by definition, that is uncomfortable. I will tell you that there's something I teach a lot of new students when they're just getting started, and it's something I picked up in grad school. This guy taught me that real learning can only take place when a student has the right balance between being comfortable and being challenged. And I'm going to do something right now that'll just take me a second. I'm going to copy and paste into the window a link that you should be able to click on, and a page will show up that just has this, along with the statement that discomfort is required for growth. You cannot remain comfortable and grow into the best possible version of yourself. And one of the things that is so important is that, especially in the time of Covidia, especially with all the discomfort, we're going to have a strong tendency to lean towards comfort. And that's okay, because if we don't have enough comfort, we can't learn and grow. But hear me out. If we don't have enough challenge, we cannot grow either. And most learning and growth takes place outside of our comfort zone. So this is true for connecting with people and putting yourself out there and daring yourself maybe to linger, to show up at some video events and actually do some chatting, maybe have your camera on. Emily and I were talking about the first couple classes she was teaching, and a lot of students tend to not put their camera on. And that's totally fine. There's lots of good reasons why someone would feel more comfortable with the camera off, and it's a good idea. And it might have a lot to do with comfort zone and just putting yourself out there. And trust me, when you can, to get out of your comfort zone, go ahead and put that camera on. Take a chance and put some comments in there, and in classes, in virtual social events that are taking place. It's also true for the next step, which is about sampling the buffet. And I got to tell you, I love restaurant buffets, and I'm so hurting right now that I can't go to buffet restaurants. I haven't been in a Golden Corral in months and months. But here's one of the things that I love about buffets. It's a chance to try all these amazing things. There's some fascinating research about, when you ask Americans who like buffets, if you had a choice between 50 fresh items to choose from or 100 fresh items to choose from, which would you choose? Well, the overwhelming majority of people say 100. And if you give people the choice at a buffet of 100 fresh items and 200 fresh items, they overwhelmingly say 200, please. And the reality is, when most Americans go to a buffet restaurant, they eat the same 5 to 7 foods that they always get. Why? Because it's comfortable. And when you want to be comfortable, it's important that you engage in the activities that you're comfortable with, that you're used to, that you know how to do well. When you want to learn, when you want to grow, when you want to get something out of orientation, out of college, out of life, it is so important that you find the strength and the courage to step away from your comfort zone and seek challenge. And so as we go through our 6 actions, we're going to ask lots of questions and ask for help. We're going to connect with as many people as possible who are as different as possible as soon as possible. We're going to sample the buffet and try to get involved in a variety of activities, things that are a little bit different than what we're used to. Maybe some things we liked in high school or that we liked if you're transferring in at another school that you went to, but to sample the buffet of opportunities and possibilities that are waiting for you. The next thing is about creating ripples. And ripples has to do with the little things that have an ongoing impact. 20 years ago, I started sending out a little email every Monday morning called Ripples that has 2 inspirational quotes and something to think about for the week. And I decided to call the email Ripples to focus on the ongoing impact that our smallest actions have. And I had no idea when I started sending it out in 1999 that it would just keep rippling outward and outward and more people would find out about it. And now there's over 30,000 people that get ripples every Monday. And sometimes that overwhelm and freaks me out. But for the most part, I remember my job is not to try to worry about how many people are getting ripples, because even if it's just a few people, if it's a couple hundred, the little things I say in there can have an ongoing impact. This is so true of the experience you're about to have in college. If you want to have good grades in college, of course you have to show up for midterms and you have to study for finals. But the biggest impact on a college student's grades are the daily decisions they make about whether to attend class, how much to participate in class, and how many minutes a day they spend studying outside of class. If you want to be healthy as a college student, of course that means taking good care of yourself and going to a doctor or a nurse when you're not feeling well or when you fall and hurt yourself, of course. But the biggest impact on a student's health and wellness is the daily decisions that they make about eating and drinking, about sleep, about exercise, and about mindfulness. And it's very often with all the big stuff going on, we forget that there are so many things we can do on a daily basis to take care of our physical health and our emotional health. And the same is true with friendships. You know, you want to have friends who are there for you. You want your family to be able to there for you. And sometimes friendships are formed when the really big stuff happens. But usually, if you want someone to be able to be there for you when the big stuff happens, that means lots of little deposits, lots of little daily relationship, checking in with people, seeing how they're doing, getting to know them a little bit better, to make those little deposits in a relationship that ripple out, so that when you've got big good news to share with someone, so you've got big something hard to deal with, you've got somebody to turn to. And that's why I want you to be thinking, whenever you feel overwhelmed with school, with home stuff, with life stuff, one of the best first things you can do is take a deep breath and ask yourself, what is something small that I know I can do that's going to help me feel better? It might not fix the big problem. It might not eliminate the big problem. What is something small? Because if we can have a small win, if we can do something to feel a little better, it's going to help us ripple out and get there. so that is rippling. Then we've got to come to focus. And I will tell you, one of the hardest of the 6 things is for me to help you understand just how important it is that we increase our capacity to focus in class, when we're listening to something that may be getting a little bit boring, whether it's online, whether it's in person, when we're away from the classroom, but it's study time, to really be able to focus on that. And because we're all distracted with all our devices and so many things going on, and the global pandemic, it's become harder and harder for us to focus. And I want to give you a couple treats in order to focus. The first thing is something I usually start at the beginning of presentations, and I confess I forgot, but it's something I did before I hopped on the video, and that was to take a few deep breaths and think the word here on the inhale and now on the exhale. So I'm going to actually invite you to do that right now. You're going to take 2 or 3 really deep breaths, and I want you to think here and then now. And again, I'm going to just, in the chat window, I'm just going to add a little image that if you want to download to your computer, you are welcome, or at least have it pop up so that you can see that image. I will tell you that that was a private little ritual that I used to do before presentations. No one knew about it. It was something I did off stage outside. And then I started incorporating it into my presentations at the beginning, and it helped me get centered. But I also noticed it helped my audience. And sometimes in evaluations, when I ask people, what do you want to remember most from our time together? A lot of new students would write here now, like that was really helpful to them. And I had some students in my annual posting on social media. What advice do you wish you would have got when you started college? Or what advice did you get that you wish you would have really followed? A lot of them have been telling me here now is actually something that I have applied and use in my life. And one of the ways students have told me it's helpful is at the beginning of class, before a class starts, that they get themselves and they go, and I'm going to give you a chance. If you want to have a little sticker, I've got a couple stickers that I want to possibly send to you as a little free thank you for showing up today, and that you can put on a water bottle, that you can put on the back of your phone to help you get centered. That is about focusing. You know what? Something that I do sometimes that I did not do for you all, that I invite you to do. If you go to the financial aid section of CSUB's website, you can quickly find what the cost of attending school for a whole year. And I'm going to invite you to open a spreadsheet and do some quick math. Take that annual cost for a year, divide it into 2 semesters, divide it by 15 weeks in a semester, and divide it by however many credits you're taking. A lot of times I just use the number 15 since that's a load that a lot of people take. If you're taking a smaller load, divide that out. The reason I ask you to do that number is because if you do all that math, you will come out with the amount of money that it costs for you to attend a single lecture. And that number is going to be larger than you think it is. When I ask people to guess, they often will guess it's like $30 to $50. And for some schools, it is that number. But for a lot of schools, it's more like $50 to $100. And the reason I ask you to do that math is not so that you can say, whoa, it's too expensive to go here, but instead to say, this is the amount I'm paying to go here. And if you're paying in-state tuition, I want you to look up the out-of-state tuition number, because the in-state tuition number, you may be paying less, but that means the state is kicking in some money for you, and they're hoping that you get something out of college. And if your parents are helping you out, or if you're getting some grants and scholarships, we want to calculate how much all these people who are helping you are all chipping in. Because I want you, when you decide, am I going to go to class, or how much am I going to pay attention? I want you to realize that's $60 you're throwing away if you don't show up and really participate. After focus, we've got to enjoy today. And I will tell you that when I do this presentation, we're actually doing really good on time, but sometimes I'm running out of time because I took some tangents, and it's always important to squeeze in. It's important to enjoy today because time goes fast. And if you think that high school went fast, I need you to know that lots and lots of college students have told me over and over again, college goes faster. And if you don't find some times, even in the time of Covidia, if you don't find some ways that you can enjoy today, it's going to be a lot harder. You're going to actually be less successful at it. And it's going to be less likely that you can keep going. So finding little micro moments, if you are able to meet a couple new people and build in some time to chat with them a little bit after class, set up a separate Zoom call, or if you're finding yourself when you get to be on campus to run into people you kind of know, just take a moment to chat with them a little bit, find out how they're doing, get to know them a little bit better. Doing some recreational fun reading, or finding websites that you go to or apps that really help bring you joy and help calm you down. Engaging in the connections with your existing relationships, quick text to people, phone calls to connect with people. Anything you can do to help enjoy today is going to make a difference. And those are the 6 things that I wanted to leave with you. Now, there's 2 more little chunks of information that I want to share with you. And because I've got 20 more minutes to hang out with you, and I would love to refill my water so that I can take a drink, I'm going to take a pause. And what I would love for you to do is actually stand up and stretch a little bit and do a big old stretch. And I would love it. I'm going to take about a minute to run out to the kitchen and fill up my water. And I would love it when I come back if you would have typed into the chat window a couple things that you hope to remember from this first part. Can you do that for me? And I will be right back. So many good things are showing up in this. Hey, Mary, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay? There's always a chance that when I run out of the room, and I always like to leave my microphone transmitter here so that it doesn't mess up the connection, that sometimes I don't. I don't know what I did. I muted myself maybe. In the process of saying, I sometimes mute myself, I muted myself. Sorry about that, guys. So I want to show you a couple things. I'm going to invite you at the end of this presentation to take a quick survey to tell me what you're going to hopefully remember the most. And I'm going to offer to send you a sticker if you would like. And I'm going to give you a couple options. One is just a here now sticker. And another sticker is actually an orientation sticker that has ask, connect, sample, ripple, focus, enjoy. It also has the seek comfort and seek challenge, and it has here now all worked into it. And I will tell you something. Let me really quickly. Um, where is my 6 actions? Let me see if I did that right. Oh, I did. So if you click on that link, that will also open up to your computer. And if you would like a sticker version of that, I will give that to you as an option. And there's going to be a couple other options because I've got a couple more secrets and surprises I wanted to share with you. And one of them is a simple green heart. And I want to tell you that a few years ago, some friends and I were going through some really tough times. And I started using the green heart emoji on my texting as a way to remind people that hearts heal. And that even when we're going through really hard stuff, that we have the capacity to keep going and to keep growing. And that for some of you, not only are we starting college in the time of Covidia, but I know for some of you, there's other challenges that you're facing as well. You may have lost somebody that is close to you, or a pet maybe, or something has happened this year that has just been really not what the plan is supposed to be. And you may be, in addition to colleging, in addition to Covidia, there's some other stuff, and it may feel so heavy. But I want you to notice something. You're here. You made it to today. And the harder your life has been, the more amazing it is that you made it to today. And so sometimes when I travel to college campuses for orientation, I travel with some stickers and I tell people, if you're dealing with something really hard, really heavy, come up to me afterwards and ask me for green heart and I'll give it to you. I won't ask any questions. And I would often, some schools, 10, 15% of the audience would end up asking for a green heart. And one of the things I want you to know is that when I talked about this last week with the staff, they liked the idea so much that the counseling center said, oh, we're going to order some green hearts. We love that idea. And I want to show you something that they did. They've been working really hard to get ready for you all to come. And they created a new document that they're rolling out to students and to staff. And if you click on this link, it'll take you to a PDF page that has a whole bunch of amazing wellness tips so that you can have a holistic approach to taking care of your body and your mind and really all of these areas: physical, emotional, social, environmental, intellectual, occupational, financial, spiritual. These are the different segments that CSUB believes make up being a whole well person. And if you took the time to click on the link, you may scroll down just a little bit to where it's the emotional section, and you will see a little green heart that looks a heck of a lot like this. Because when I showed this to them, they said, oh, we want to put that on this sheet that they were just about ready to finish up. Green hearts are a symbol. It says that hearts heal, a way to help us remember that even when tough stuff happens, we can choose not just to go through it, but we can grow through it. Yanira said, green is the color related to the heart chakra. Shut up. I did not know that. That was the universe, God, higher power, helping me, because that is not something I knew. That is fantastic. Thank you for sharing that fun little tidbit. So I do believe that someone on campus, and we're going to make sure that the word gets out that there's going to be stickers available, but at the end of our time together, I'm going to let you choose what sticker that I send you in the mail, and I'm happy for it to be a green heart if you need. I have a couple more things I want to share. We've got 12 more minutes. Are you in? I'm going to trust that you're in. Mary's shaking her head. Everyone else, you'll just have to say yes or type in yes, because I want to keep going. Yes, I'm in. Good. Thank you, Leah. I want to keep on going. I promise to end on time, but there's a couple, sometimes when I'm doing this in person, I see the audience start to fade a little bit. I'm like, oh, maybe we should wrap up early. I want to share with you two more special things. One are 3 questions that have helped me so often in times of challenge and change. And the 3 questions are, what is it time to let go of? What will be important to hold on to? And what might be useful to look forward to? And I made up something for you that I wanted to make it easy. Again, I didn't want to do slides in this presentation. And for me, I know sometimes slides can be really helpful. For me, I wanted you to see my face. I wanted to use my hand gestures, and I didn't want it to feel like a class. I wanted it to be more relaxed and with video. So what I ended up doing is sort of making up some square images that could serve as slides that you could go look at on your screen. 3 questions amid challenge and change. What is it time to let go of? What is it that's actually holding you back from moving forward? What will be important to hold on to? And then finally, what will be useful? What might be useful to look forward to on the other side of difficulty? Because here's the truth. There is some letting go that needs to happen anytime we go through a big change in life. We have to let go of the way things used to be, the way we thought things were going to go when things happen unexpectedly, and the way we wish things were going to go. Because sometimes we get so caught up with this idea of how we thought things were going to turn out, how we wish things would go, that we lose our capacity to enjoy and grow through what is happening. Because we've got this Byron Katie, there's this speaker, Byron Katie, that talks about arguing with reality. If you have it in your head that a certain friend of yours should be acting a certain way, and when you say this, they're supposed to say this, and that's just not their personality, you can get so caught up in that you can miss out on a lot of the good qualities they have because they're not acting a certain way that you think they should act or you wish they would act. And sometimes it can be about having a conversation with somebody and that they're willing to make some changes. But sometimes it's about realizing that's who the person is. Do I need to take them like they are, or do I need to say, I'm sorry, it's not good for our paths to cross? What do you need to let go of about the way your world was before you started college? What is it time to graduate from? Your relationship with your parents might be headed for a change if you're no longer living at home. Even if you are living at home, your relationship might be changing significantly. The way you went to school was different. The way you got to say goodbye to your friends maybe that's not how you hoped it would be. It might be that you need to spend some time and energy saying, I got to let go of what I thought was going to happen, of what I wished was going to happen. And anytime, listen up, anytime you are letting go of something like that, there is grieving going on. Your heart is going to be sad. Your head is going to be sad a little bit. And it's not exactly the same that if your really closest friend dies, it's not exactly like that, but it's a little bit like that. And some of the losses that you're going through, our loss of normal as a society, and Covidia has affected everyone, and it affects everyone differently. Some people are more impacted than others. And the more this has impacted you, the more there might be grieving to do about what things used to be before COVID, the way you thought things were going to be. The good news is when you do that grieving and letting go, there's still some things to take. There's still some things that you can hold on to take with you. There's learning. There is memories that we can take with us from the old days, the old way. There are maybe mementos that we can hold on to remind us of good times. And we do, if we're smart, we do want there to be a time when Covidia is over. But I don't think we want to forget it. And I don't think we want to erase it, because I know I would not be giving this presentation to you today if it wasn't for being forced to learn how to Zoom. And when the staff at CSUB reached out to me last week, 2 or 3 weeks ago, for an event that was coming up really soon, And they said, oh, we need you. Can you do this virtually? I would never have been able to make it work if it was in person. It only worked because it was virtual. And it was in those discussions when I said, if I was coming to campus, there's probably not going to be any students left. But since I'm not coming to campus, what if I offered a second presentation so the students could hear me? And that never would have worked if it wasn't Covidia. And very possible in the future, anytime I'm coming to campus for anything, instead of just coming, I'm going to be able to add, hey, do you want me to do a Zoom call before or a follow-up a month later? And that's something that I can take with me, even though I'm looking forward to leaving Covidia behind. And then, my friends, it's important to think, what is there left to look forward to? On the other side, when Covidia is done, on the other side of colleging, when you are less nervous, when you are less uncomfortable and you can embrace all the possibilities, what will be some good times that you are pretty sure are there? Because we want to be able to look forward, to have hope. When we have hope, my friends, there is so many possibilities that exist. And when we don't have hope, things are so hard. Let me share something with you that's from the weekly ripples that I send out. Sometimes we are called upon to be keepers of hope. Hope for a better tomorrow, hope for friends in despair, hope for loved ones at risk, hope for all who dare to dream, hope that they will not stumble alone and in the dark. For all those with whom we connect, the best way that we can nurture them is to listen with a heart that is open and to offer hope. Hope that sustains, hope that nourishes, hope that offers comfort and perhaps healing. And so hold on to hope today. And if it is too hard for you to do, ask someone, anyone, to hold it for you. I share that with you. It was one of the little poems I shared in Ripples many years ago, and I held on to it and started passing it on to people when they reached out to me and they were struggling. And I started finding other little tidbits and pieces and advice from my own workshops to help people get through tough times. And I started this little file folder of stuff. And anytime somebody would email me, anytime somebody emails me and asks me for help, I would start going to this pile and sharing them. And it became this larger and larger pile until something really amazing happened. In the middle of Covidia, when there was so much struggling going on, I said that pile on my desk needs to be out into the world. And so I ended up putting it all in about 6 weeks' time into a little book called Ripples of Hope. And what I'm really excited to share with you is that this little book we made as a PDF, an electronic, that I can give to every one of you who wants to take a look at it. And it takes literally less than an hour to read. It's got lots of fun little pictures and little sentences that is the best advice I have for when you're struggling. And at the end here, I'm going to give you a little way that I can just send you the link so that it can pop up on your screen. Our time is almost done. And there was one other thing I wanted to squeeze in, and I've got enough time to do it. The other thing I did at the beginning of COVID is I whipped up this little sticker that says, "We got this." Because I was convinced that we got this if we focus on 4 things. Hold on just a second. Ruth Miles just sent me a lovely private message. Oh, I sent that to just Ruth. Let's try that again. Boop, boop, boop. So this little sticker is something that I whipped together really quickly because I was convinced that we got this if we focus on 4 things: on curious minds, leaning into the learning possibilities, open hearts, being kind, being generous, and having compassion for ourselves and for other people. And then calm spirits, being able to here now, here now, here now. And then finally, nurturing our health, just like I've talked a couple times in this presentation. Anything that you can do to take care of your eating and drinking, your sleep, your rest, your meditation, and there's a fourth one. What am I? Exercise. You're moving. Anything you can do to boost those things helps boost your physical and emotional health, so that minimizes the chance that you don't get COVID, minimizes the impact if you do get COVID or some other sickness, and minimizes the impact on the healthcare system. Colleging in a time of Covidia is hard. It's not what we wished for. It's not what we wanted. But it is possible. And it's possible that you can do it and not just get by. You can actually thrive in the middle of this. Now, I want to honor the time. And I want to know that I'm going to wrap things up and see if Emily has any last announcements before we leave. I can stick around in this room if you have follow-up questions. I can stick around here, but let me share with you two things really quick. And if you would like a summary of everything I just said, and links to the free book and a little form to fill out, a survey, so that you can, I don't think I put the link to the survey in that email. I'm going to have to send that survey out to you because I don't think I remember it. But listen, what I want you to do is send a blank email to runners@2rpl.me. I just put it in the chat window. And if you want me to sign you up for the Ripples newsletter, if you put Ripples in the subject line, I will add you for Ripples. If you don't want Ripples, you just leave the subject line blank, or just put hi in the subject line. And that is going to set up an auto reply that's going to zoom you a whole bunch of information. Right now, as I'm saying this, I think I forgot to put a link to the survey, which I just can't remember if I did it. And I'll check it right afterwards, and I'll send it to you so that you can get it within a couple minutes after I get off the call. And it's just a really quickly 4 or 5 questions. Did you like this? What didn't you like? How are you feeling? And it gives you the option of pulling down one of the bazillion stickers that I gave you, and then you just put your address, and I will send you in the mail a sticker as a way to say thank you. So our time is done. I want to honor the time. The other thing I was going to show you is a link that's in the summary email. So send it there if you would like. I will wrap up, and we will press pause on the recording so that the last part, the Q&A, won't be recorded. And if you want to stick around and say hi or ask a question, great. Some of you have to get on to your next thing, and I'm just going to say
The recording
goodbye. Thank
has
you for
stopped.
showing up. Oh, there's the recording has stopped. That's good. Emily, is there anything you need to pop up and say officially to wrap this up before we end our time?
Just that we thank you. We have grown to love you. You are our CSUB family member now, and we hope that you'll continue to participate in our wellness discussions over the next few years, because I know our students, our faculty, and our staff has really benefited from your messages and your continuous encouraging words through your emails and your promotional items that I have here sitting on my desk.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.